Training camp is officially underway in Baltimore, and if you're a Ravens fan, there's already a lot to be excited about. The energy is high, the competition is fierce, and the young guys, especially the rookies, are making serious noise. And while not every rookie is out here lighting it up just yet, there's one name already generating massive buzz: Malaki Starks. Yeah, remember the name, because the Ravens' first-round pick is not wasting any time making an impression. On just the second day of camp, Malaki looked like a veteran, like someone who's already been through the grind. It's wild because this is the same position that gave Baltimore fits last season. They were constantly shuffling at safety, dealing with injuries and inconsistency, trying to find the right fit next to Kyle Hamilton. Marcus Williams had his moments, Eddie Jackson came in late, but there was never that one solid, dependable presence back there. That's what Malaki Starks is supposed to be. That's what he already looks like. And look, it's one thing to show up and just do your job in camp, but it's another thing entirely to start dominating snaps, picking off your MVP quarterback, and flying around the field like you own the place. Reports say Malaki had a textbook pass breakup on a tight end route to Charlie Kolar. Then he elevated the buzz even more by picking off Lamar Jackson on a play where the ball sailed a bit high. But still, you've got to be in the right spot, react in time, and have the hands to secure the turnover. And that's exactly what he did. That kind of play changes the tone in camp. It wakes people up. It sends a message: I'm not here to learn slowly. I'm here to contribute now. And honestly, that's what Baltimore needs. Not just potential, not just projects for the future, but for ready talent right now. That's what the front office was betting on when they took Starks in the first round. He's got all the tools: awareness, range, athleticism, and that instinct you just can't teach. The Georgia program clearly prepped him well. You don't walk out of Athens without having been battle-tested, and it shows. Whether it's in coverage and run support, or just reading the quarterback, Malaki's already moving like someone who understands the moment. And you could see it in the way teammates responded to that pick. That wasn't just a good play, it was a moment. Even in practice, there are plays that feel louder than others. That one echoed. And then there was another stop in the run game where he diagnosed a play, closed the space, and made a statement. Coaches noticed, teammates noticed, the media definitely noticed. And now the fan base is buzzing. It's exactly the kind of breakout you hope to see early from a top draft pick. But let's be real, it's only day 2. The pads haven't come on yet, and that always changes things. We all know it. Once the hitting starts, that's when you really separate the gamers from the campers. Especially in the trenches: offensive line, defensive line, linebackers. That's when the tough gets tested. But even so, when it comes to defensive backs and safety specifically, there's still a lot you can evaluate early: the reads, the reactions, the movement in space, the timing. That stuff doesn't need pads to jump off the screen. And Malaki wasn't the only young guy flashing. Another name to circle is Anis Peoples. Undrafted, under the radar, but already making his presence felt on the defensive line. He generated a solid pressure up the middle that got his teammates hyped. Again, it's harder for linemen to really stand out this early in camp without pads. But when you do, it means something. That kind of hustle, that kind of motor, it gets noticed. Same thing goes for Ruben Lowry. Now here's a story. Undrafted out of Chattanooga, not exactly a pipeline to the league. But this guy has been everywhere. The man is around the football constantly. Reports say he had 3 picks during OTA letters in minicamp, and then added another one on Thursday for interceptions already before preseason games even begin. That's the kind of production that forces coaches to pay attention. And here's the part Ravens fans should love. The front office under Eric DeCosta is not afraid to let the best man win. This isn't the old school mindset of "we invested a draft pick, so we have to keep him." No, if you ball out, you stick around. Doesn't matter if you were picked in the 3rd round or signed after the draft. DeCosta has shown time and time again that he's going to keep the guys who earn it. So if Ruben Lowry keeps up this pace, he could absolutely steal a roster spot, even if that means pushing out someone the team just drafted. It's all about competition. It's all about production. And right now, Lowry is producing. Now let's pivot to a slightly different battle: kicker. Yeah, that's right. The Ravens are having a kicker battle in camp, and it's actually getting interesting. Tyler Loop, the rookie they drafted in the 6th round, the first kicker Baltimore has ever taken in the draft, by the way, had a strong day 1, went 6 for 6 on field goals. But then came day 2, and John Hlan, the undrafted guy, came out and went 9 for 9. Perfect. Didn't miss a single kick. His longest was from 3 yards out. So through 2 days, Ravens kickers are a combined 15 for 15. Not bad. And while Loop is still the favorite to win the job just based on draft capital, And the investment the team made in him land is clearly not here to be just a camp leg. He's pushing, he's making every kick count. And the more consistent he is, the harder that final decision becomes. Realistically, the most likely scenario is Loop wins the job, and Hland sticks around on the practice squad. It's insurance. Smart insurance, and if you're going to carry, to better to have one you can trust. But again, that's what makes this camp feel different already. Every spot is being earned. There are no handouts. Even on special teams, even with rookies, there's fire. You've got drafted guys like Malaki Starks stepping up big. You've got undrafted guys like Lowry, like Peoples, making plays. And then you've got guys like Loop and Hland battling in spots that people don't usually pay attention to until something goes wrong. It's that depth, that culture, that mindset that has to be in place if you're going to make a real run in January. And speaking of depth, let's circle back to the defensive backfield for a second. It's worth pointing out how critical that safety spot is to Baltimore's defensive identity. This isn't just about filling a position. This is about giving Kyle Hamilton the freedom to roam. When he has someone next to him who's solid, reliable, and versatile, Hamilton becomes a weapon. You can line him up in the box. You can blitz him off the edge. You can let him play center field. That only works if the guy next to him can hold down his responsibility. That's what Marcus Williams couldn't do consistently last year due to injuries. That's what Eddie Jackson tried to patch together. And that's what Malaki Starks is stepping in to fix. You give Mike McDonald a player like that, someone who can cover ground, read offenses, and make plays on the ball, and suddenly this defense becomes a nightmare to deal with, because it's not just about the big names like Roquan Smith and Marlon Humphrey. It's about those role players who elevate the ceiling. And the way Malaki has looked early, he's not playing like a role guy. He's playing like someone ready to be a star. The confidence, the quickness, the way he closes on the ball, it all jumps off the field. You don't fake that. You don't teach that. And for a fan base that's been dying to see the rookies contribute early again, this is exactly the kind of performance you want. We saw it last year with guys like Kyle Hamilton and Roquan stepping in midseason and taking over. Now it looks like Starks could be next in line to carry that torch. And with the pads coming on soon, that's when we're really going to see who's who. Can the linemen translate technique into real leverage and drive? Can the linebackers fill gaps and shed blocks? Can these flashy moments from the rookies carry over into physical full contact drills? That's what coaches are waiting to see. And honestly, that's what fans want to. The headlines are great, but the tape don't lie when the hitting starts. And look, let's not forget, this team is built to compete now. This isn't a rebuilding year. This isn't a development phase. This is a roster that's trying to win the AFC. That's why the rookies making early noise is such a big deal. Because if you can get production from the young guys, if they can hold their own alongside the veterans, that's what pushes a good team into great territory. Now, while the rookies have been stealing some of the spotlight, the veterans are making their presence known as well. Training camp is about balance. Yes, you want your young guys to pop, but you also need your core leaders setting the tone. And right now, a few of Baltimore's most important veterans are doing exactly that. Let's start with Lamar Jackson. After what was described as a solid, if not overly flashy, performance on the first day, Lamar came back on Thursday and put on a clinic. Near flawless according to those watching closely. One particular throw stood out and had people buzzing, a deep ball down the right sideline to Rashod Bateman that split to defenders. And not just any defenders, Nate Wiggins and Kyle Hamilton. That's two of the most athletic and talented defensive backs on the roster. Yet Lamar dropped it in perfectly. Bateman sold the route with a filthy double move, but the placement from Lamar was elite. These are the kinds of plays you want to see in training camp. Not just because they look good, but because they show chemistry, timing, and trust between your quarterback and receivers. And that's critical for Bateman this season. He's had an up-and-down ride with injuries, with flashes of brilliance that always seemed to be interrupted by some physical setback. But when healthy, the connection between him and Lamar is something special. If he can stay on the field, there's no reason he can't become a key piece in this offense, someone who can stretch the field, move the chains, and make big plays when they matter most. Now let's talk about Roquan Smith, because the man just continues to be an absolute monster in the middle of the field. Coming off a season where he instantly elevated Baltimore's defense the moment he was acquired, Roquan is picking up right where he left off. And for anyone who questioned his conditioning, there was that one offhand comment from an anonymous assistant coach suggesting he wasn't quite in shape. He's shutting that down fast. Roquan looks sharp, aggressive, and in full command of the defense. He punched the ball out from Charlie Kolar after a catch, forcing a fumble that had everyone talking. And then he showed his elite athleticism again by sticking with Justice Hill step for step. On a deep wheel route, that's not normal for a linebacker, that's rare territory. Justice Hill, for context, cooked defenders on those exact plays multiple times last season, but Roquan was there stride for stride. That's elite linebacker play. That's the type of play that sets the tone for the entire defense. Speaking of Hill, it's encouraging to see him showing bursts again too. Reports say he looked explosive on an outside run, beating defenders up the sideline, and showing the kind of burst that makes him such a valuable change-of-pace option. Behind the power of Gus Edwards and the explosiveness of Keaton Mitchell, and hey, Mitchell is another name you love hearing about again. Coming off a season where his speed made him a fan favorite, it sounds like he's back to full strength and ready to carve out a bigger role. Then there's Trenton Simpson. The battle for that second inside linebacker spot is very real, and Simpson is right in the middle of it. With Patrick Queen gone, the job is wide open, and Simpson knows it. He made a big play Thursday, hauling in an interception after the ball bounced off Isaiah Likely's hands. Right place, right time, but he still had to make the catch and turn the momentum. It's another step in the right direction for a player who's being counted on to step up in a big way this year. Isaiah Likely, to his credit, bounced back from that miscue with an absolutely ridiculous one-handed grab on a pass from Lamar. High difficulty, high reward, and a reminder of the mismatch nightmare he can be for linebackers and safeties. If he can find consistency to go along with those highlight moments, he's going to be a huge piece in this offense, especially in Titan sets, where you can line him up alongside Mark Andrews and put defenses in a bind. Let's not forget about the guys in the trenches. Defensive lineman John Jenkins, who's stepping in to help fill the void left by Michael Pierce, had a batted pass at the line of scrimmage. Annis Peoples, who we talked about earlier, had a pressure that got his teammates hyped. And TJ Ravenel added his own quarterback pressures into the mix, showing that there's still plenty of competition happening on the defensive front even without pads. But not all news out of camp has been positive. One storyline that's raising some eyebrows is the performance or lack thereof by backup quarterback Cooper Rush. It hasn't been good. Not in the spring, not through the first 2 days of training camp. And while it's still early, you have to wonder how patient the coaching staff is going to be. If things don't improve, ideally you never have to see your backup QB outside of blowout situations or kneel downs. That's the goal. But the NFL is unpredictable, and the Ravens know that better than most. If something were to happen to Lamar, you need to have someone behind him who can at least manage the game and protect the ball. Right now, Rush isn't inspiring a lot of confidence. Still, the overall vibe at camp has been extremely positive. The young talent is flashing, the veterans are leading, and the depth, particularly at some of the problem spots from last year's safety and side linebacker and corner, is beginning to look a whole lot stronger. It's not perfect. There are still questions. There are still spots that need to shake themselves out. But if you're a Ravens fan, you've got to be encouraged by how this team is looking early on. Now let's talk about the Adree Hopkins situation, because that one caught a few people off guard. He wasn't at practice on Thursday, and there was some initial confusion about whether he was dealing with an injury. Turns out he took a fall the day before and landed awkwardly on his knee or leg. According to John Harbaugh, holding him out was just a precaution, nothing serious. And that's the right move. It's still July. You're not pushing a veteran wide receiver through soreness in the middle of camp when there's no game on the line. Hopkins doesn't need to be a hero right now. What he needs is to be healthy in September, October, and beyond. That's when this team will need him the most. Because while he's not the number one guy, that job belongs to Zay Flowers. He's still a vital part of the passing game. His ability to win contested catches, to move the chains, to make plays in the red zone, that's going to matter, especially in tight games against teams like Cincinnati or Kansas City. The concern with Hopkins, of course, has always been about durability. He's had nagging issues the past couple of seasons, and while he's still a dangerous weapon when on the field, the challenge is keeping him there. That's why the Ravens are playing it smart. No need to rush him. Get him healthy, let him build chemistry with Lamar, and then unleash him when the games start counting. And speaking of chemistry, Lamar mentioned earlier this week that it's going to take some time to get that timing right with Hopkins. That's normal. They haven't played together before. But when you've got veterans like that, it usually doesn't take long. As long as DeHup is on the field for the majority of camp and healthy going into the regular season, they'll figure it out. You can't teach Lamar's instincts or Hopkins' catch radius. They just need reps. So yes, there's excitement. There's optimism. There's plenty to like about what's happening in Owings Mills right now, but there's also realism. It's early, nobody's wearing pads yet, these are still non-contact practices. Everything looks a little easier without a 280 pounds edge rusher coming at you full speed. The real tests are still to come, and that's when we'll see if all this promise turns into production. But for now the vibes are good, the rookies are showing up, the veterans are leading, the coaches are experimenting, and the depth chart battles are starting to get spicy. Whether it's Malaki Starks locking up the back and Trenton Simpson trying to win the linebacker job, or John Hland pushing Tyler Loop for that kicker spot, there's competition everywhere. And if there's one thing that defines the Ravens year in and year out, it's this: nothing is handed out. You earn it. That's the culture. That's the standard. And so far it looks like this group is ready to meet that challenge. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. In what's quickly becoming one of the most talked about whispers of the NFL offseason, there's growing speculation that wide receiver Zay could be on his way out of Baltimore. Though nothing has been confirmed, several sources close to the situation have hinted that the talented young pass catcher may be preparing to don a new jersey in the near future. Drafted in the first round just last season, Flowers made an immediate impact for the Ravens with his electric speed, crisp route running, and natural playmaking ability. His chemistry with Lamar Jackson developed quickly, making him one of the few bright spots in Baltimore's receiving corps. However, despite his on-field success, murmurs have emerged suggesting that all may not be well behind the scenes. Some insiders believe Flowers is exploring new opportunities due to differences in vision with the coaching staff or the offensive scheme. Others suggest that teams around the league are actively inquiring about his availability, sensing a rare opportunity to snatch a young talent before he fully blossoms. Whether it's whispers of dissatisfaction or simply the business side of the sport at play, it's clear that Zay Flowers has caught the eye of more than a few front offices. Fans in Baltimore have begun to notice the shift as well, with Flowers' social media activity sparking speculation, cryptic posts, removed team references, and a general sense of distance from the franchise that once celebrated his arrival. While nothing official has been stated by the player or the organization, the silence is only feeding the fire. Could Flowers be looking for a system better suited to showcase his talents? Is there a dark horse team ready to make a bold move for him? One thing's for certain: if the rumors are true and Zay Flowers is indeed on the move, his next team may be about to witness a full bloom. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.